Hello, friends. This is Chandrakant from Akulmach Technologies. And on a Thursday morning, let me invite my friend, Mr. Nebul Gund from UK, to kickstart our discussion today.
Good morning, CK. Good morning, everybody. It's a cold, very cold Thursday morning in the UK. We're getting Jack Frost from the north, and that's obviously not good for coronavirus either because it's the perfect conditions for spreading it. So, hence, we're under lockdown. So, other things are happening, but fundamentally, we're in lockdown mode.
Well, we can talk about coronavirus. I think there is lots been done by the scientists and our doctors and our healthcare workers. But I think let's discuss about something futuristic, the way the world is going, and the new jobs which are emerging. And one of these jobs which may emerge very quickly is the drone pilots. So the advantage of being a drone pilot is that you can sit in your home and in a work from home scenario, and you can control a drone in Mississippi in a field, or somewhere in Ukraine, where you can dust the field and so on. And there are a lot of other opportunities. So I think this is something that we would like to discuss, especially when you have launched a UK Drone Pilot Association. It's a global association, but launched first time in UK.
Yeah, you're right, CK. This is the future of work. So it is futuristic, but it's happening today. And a lot of people say drones. So what they're really used for, they just have that thought process of a McDonald's being picked up and delivered to your backyard and dropped off. That's one use, and it's a really good use. So delivery. So what sort of things do we need to, or could we deliver quicker, faster, more effective, more efficient, and at the same time, remember, drones are electric in the main. They're battery powered. They don't actually adversely affect the environment once they're in flight. You know, so yes, there's all this issue about batteries are not very good, but if batteries are not very good, we wouldn't be putting electric vehicles out there. So this is just another form of electric vehicle that hasn't got anyone in it, and we're getting things from A to B. What other things do you think drones could be used for, CK? Because a lot of people got quite a narrow view of what drones are used for.
Well, I think we are looking at the next phase of human development, and I think humans will have to do a little bit more brainy stuff and not do the mundane activity. And drones are very ideal for that. So things like delivery of your Amazon orders, delivery of your food at home, if you're asking for it, collection of samples. Say, for example, if you're giving your blood regularly every 6 months or 3 months for sampling your blood, that is one of the big requirement going to come, in future, because there will be all kinds of diseases and the sample collection has to be done without putting the health worker at harm's way. So drone is ideal. It can land on your balcony, and then you can submit your sample. There could be other things like transiting from one building to other. So it's like an air taxis, because in a place like Singapore, where there are a lot of high rises, to go down using an elevator, then go down to the tube, and then go back to the next building, and then go up again. It is a 1 hour exercise, so you can just avoid that. Take a drone taxi from the rooftop of your building and go to the next building, and that's how you can save your time. And all of these are non-polluting vehicles. These are electric vehicles, and I think these are going to be very safe, piloted electronically. You don't need very heavy motor and gas guzzlers. You don't need to really prepare your rooftops to power these taxis. There could be other huge requirements which are related to agriculture, where right now, if the fields are very large, the aeroplanes are used for dusting the fields, which can be very well replaced by a drone, which is pilotless, can be controlled using a mobile phone, mobile device, and you just charge it, and then it's ready to go again. You don't need to hire a plane with a pilot. That means you can avoid two costs here if you have a drone technology. There could be other things like surveillance. So it could be used in surveillance. It could also be used in law enforcement. It could also be used in journalism, live journalism happening. And these drones are not even visible. They don't make noises. So whole lot of advantages associated with this, Naval.
You're absolutely right. You're mentioning some, really great uses. Drone taxi. I mean, that is going to be in the dictionary. A drone taxi will be in the dictionary probably in next year's announcement. It will be just like social distancing came into the dictionary as a phrase in 2020. Drone taxi will be a phrase going forward, and it's all those benefits of the drone taxi. So there's a lot of medical things that are moved from one place to the next in an emergency. Heart transplants, any major organs that literally are taken from one hospital to the next. You now don't need a bespoke ambulance, which is on the road, rushing from A to B, suffering with traffic, causing more traffic because a lot of these ambulances, they put the sirens on, you can see the lights flashing, and if you're any part of being human, you get out of the way of a moving ambulance that's got its flashing lights and sirens on because someone needs help. That's what the purpose of the flashing lights and the sirens. And it's inbuilt in us. So everyone moves out the way. Whereas with a drone, it's traveling 50 meters up in the air, no one has to move out the way. There's obviously some regulation that needs to be put around it, and that's the whole purpose of making it a professional arena that's perhaps trying to be more self regulating so that it is a recognized, not just profession, but it's a recognized industry which is regulated and people take care of it. Um, we always see the negative when drones are talked about getting in the way of aircraft, established aircraft, etc., interfering with signals. So we see the negatives there, but we need to be thinking of the positives. You also mentioned crop dusting, massive opportunity for farmers actually to take control of their crops quicker. And surveillance, yeah, big thing. Journalism, absolutely huge. And we saw what happened at Capitol Hill in the last 24 hours. And we've seen pictures from drones. We've seen live streaming from drones, whereas typically your even the big news channels would have had huge zoom lenses coming in you know, from literally street level and looking at something that's going massively up there. Now they can take a drone in and they can actually see live action. And just like anything else, if it's live, it can't be dubbed. This isn't like looking at Netflix where it's hugely dubbed and put into um, their view of reality. So you're seeing things happen live, which is great. We've also seen these drones on fixed wires at sports arena. You know, there isn't a cricket ground that you can't see a drone that's literally flying around on a fixed wire typically. So it's got a north to south, east to west view. But let's face it, when you're looking at cricket, most of the action is actually within 22 yards, within one wicket to the next. So you can actually, as these zip wires go across, the zip wires pinpoint right over the top. You can see some fantastic action that's going on. It brings it live, and it's been used very, very proactively. American football in the UK, when they put football on TV, you can see action that you would never have seen before. So all these really positive uses. There's also one arena that we don't really think about, but because of my background in the oil and gas industry, that's spread over miles of acreage. So when you get a huge facility, you've typically got people that are driving around that facility for security purposes, obviously, as you mentioned, surveillance. But there's another element of surveillance of looking around your property and finding out what's going on so that you've got an early warning system. So if you see a leak of something, you can quickly put these drones up there with sensors, because it's not just physically looking and recording video. They can smell gases. They can also sense temperatures. So, in a COVID arena, for instance, and I know the police around the world are using drones for this, they're putting a drone up in a heavily populated arena and they're just taking the general temperature. And if they see spikes in that temperature, then they know that particular area is infected. Whether people have just got flu or COVID is neither here nor there, but they can actually sense the temperature change. That's how good these things are. There's another arena that we've seen over the last few years, we should be talking about here, and this is um, rescue services. And I'm not just talking about the big dog on the top of a Austrian mountain that takes the water supply up there. I'm actually talking about high-rise apartments where the fire and rescue service can't actually put their ladders up high enough, and the only thing that they could use in the past was a form of aircraft, a helicopter. But you don't see many helicopters holding fire cannon, water cannon up at that height, whereas a drone can. There's a lot of physics involved here because, as all the people that are talking about understanding physics here, as you put a huge force in this way, you've got to apply a force that way to keep it stable. But you can do that. It's been experimented, and you can do that. And certainly in Canada, they've done lots of these experimentation, and it's actually in some fire and rescue services as we speak. So you can take a hose up to very high levels, and you can actually it can help to put the fire out. So there's some fantastic uses for drones. It is the way forward. It is, if you like, futuristic. Maybe this is our futuristic discussion for the week, but it's live today. And the other thing is, it's going to create lots of jobs going forward, because I don't know whether many people saw some of the New Year's celebrations, but the one in London, there was this huge drone display, and it was almost like um, 600 drones were dancing in midair, all dancing together. Now they were all synchronized together, so it's a bit like an Air Force display, where the Air Force go in diamond formation and then they change it into an arrow, and then they come and dive bomb all over the place, and then they come perfectly up together back into the diamond formation. Each of those are individual pilots. You can now understand where one drone pilot can actually be using all of those drones together, all synchronized, moving perfectly together, exactly 10 foot apart, north, south, east, and west. And that's how that type of light show is put together. It's absolutely fantastic, and it was mesmerizing. All you have to do is remember that every drone needs its own battery. So make sure each of the batteries are fully charged up. Otherwise, one's going to fall out of the sky. But the point is, there are many, many opportunities of using drones. And I'm going to throw this out as a question to the audience. Where could you use a drone? Where is there a problem that could be fulfilled by using a drone? And it might be a difficult to get to place, a dangerous place, or it may be something very simple, you know, like we take for granted. We're all journalists these days. We all take our camera out when we see an accident or we see something happening. Um, that's a simplistic arena of where drones can be useful. So, come on, everybody. I challenge you. Tell us where drones could be used. Let's let's create together, create the compendium of drones. You never
Absolutely.
know.
Absolutely, Neville. In fact, we have mentioned a few arenas where the drones can be used, and as we see, as our imagination goes as far as possible, and you mentioned the firefighting usage of drones in firefighting. I think the biggest advantage is that you can pinpoint where you want to douse the fire, and instead of throwing water on the entire building, the drone has the capability to go inside and then douse the fire where it is needed. So I think that is a very big advantage. You can save water, you can save lives. You don't have to send your firefighters, 30 kilometers climbing the staircases and so on. It can be quick, it can be deployed. And in the buildings today, you have to have firefighting pipes running through. So you can avoid all that and just rely on drones. So I think there are huge requirements. There could be lots that can be done, and I think we will put the poll out where people can say that, hey, we missed out few things, and they can, you never know, Neville, how people can think today. They can come up with a new usage of drone technology. But having said all this, I think the real challenge starts at the training of these pilots. So I think before all of this happens, we need to train pilots in firefighting. We have to train pilots in dusting the fields. We have to train pilot on surveillance, and these are all different skill sets. So I think there is a need for, number one, training institutes who will train the drone pilots. Number two, they have to get specialization in different areas. If they are specialized in deliveries, then they will be called delivery pilots. If they are specialized in surveillance, they'll be called surveillance drone pilots, and so on. What is your take on that? Where the opportunities lies for next 2021 to 2025?
It's really simple from my perspective. These pilots are in control of a vehicle in the sky. We call them pilots for a very simple reason is they are piloting. But just like airline pilots are not just taking an aircraft from A to B, they're dealing with passenger safety. So it's the passenger on board, which is their primary concern. And that's where we need to be starting to think that we're not just looking for a gamer that can hold, you know, a couple of controls. We're actually looking at this as a profession. And this is where we need to be professional about it. Just like if you get an electrician to come into your home, you don't expect that electrician to say, oh, this job's too big for me. You'll have to get somebody else. You expect that electrician to do the job. You know, they have got a level of qualification where they should be registered to come into your home. And we don't want to wait 10 years while this registration process is happening in the drone arena. Because as we've said today, there are so many facets of being a drone pilot. So the skill set of, of driving the drone is going to be very similar to whatever you're doing. But the knowledge around using the drone in specific arenas is going to be very different. It's going to be contextual. So, yes, we do need to have drones with a firefighting license, drone pilots with a firefighting license. We do need to have drone pilots with a crop dusting license because then we know we got people that have got specialism. They are focused on what they're doing, and therefore the pool of these qualified people will be experts. The last thing you want to be doing is using someone who's really good at using a hammer and not very good at using a wrench. And actually, you've got a job for a person with a wrench rather than a person with a hammer. Because don't like you, you can't use a wrench. when the job needs a hammer, and you can't use a hammer when the job needs a wrench. It just doesn't work. So it's as simple as that. We need to be making this a very professional job for the future. And to do that, of course, you need the proper training. Two elements of training, as you and I both know, it's not just the technical training you need, but it's the soft skills, the interpersonal skills that are also needed. Being able to work under pressure actually is a technical skill, but actually it's a mental interpersonal skill of being confident in yourself. So we need to be building those soft skills in individuals, and at the same time we need them to be very competent technically what they do. So it's a combination of those two skills. And interestingly enough, there's nowhere in the world you can get that yet. You have to go to two different places.
That's right, Neville. I think when we talk about drones, people seldom think that uh, it is only the air and all that. But I think the drones are going in the ocean. They are also on the land. So there are all kinds of drones which are going to come up, and there is a need for professional drone pilots who will be doing different activities using the drones. So, Neville, I think we can end our discussion today. We will keep coming back on this one because this is quite futuristic, and this is going to drive the skill sets for the future, for the future jobs. So thank you very much for coming and finding time and talking to us about this very futuristic subject. We will discuss something more interesting tomorrow again with you.
Absolutely. And don't forget, folks, we throw down the gauntlet. Excuse the pun in the name, but we are throwing down the gauntlet. Tell us where drones should be used. Tell us where you think there's a problem that drones can solve. And let's create that list because it is the way for the future. So why not be part of that future?
And if you write to us with something new where you think that the drone can be utilized, we will call you live on our program, and then you will get a chance to discuss the same business proposition with Naval. So, folks, do write in, do send us your comments, and we will include you in the next session of Akulmach Nation.
Fantastic. Nice to see you, CK. Good luck, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye bye.